What's up guys, my name's Brandon and today we're going to be taking a look at some more iOS 11 Beta 3 features and changes as well as how it's been performing for me over the past week. So if you remember last week I was one of the first people here on YouTube to release a video talking about iOS 11 Beta 3 and I showed you some new features, but since it was still so fresh and new, a lot of the new features weren't discovered just yet. So I wanted to make this follow-up video to show you some of those new features and changes as well as tell you how it's been treating me. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out some of these new features and changes. So the very first feature that is new in iOS 11 Beta 3 is that Wi-Fi is now prioritizing 5 GHz bands. So basically if you have a dual band router, you know that you have a 2.4 GHz and a 5 GHz Wi-Fi band. Now, previously, it would not really prioritize one or the other. It's sometimes connect to 2.4, sometimes 5G, but now it actually prioritizes the 5 GHz band and Wi-Fi, which is great because back in the day, back in iOS 10, I would always have to just forget the network for the 2.4 GHz band just so it wouldn't connect to it, and that would only connect to the 5 GHz. So this is obviously something you're not going to notice right away, but after playing with it for a while, you're going to notice that it does actually prioritize the 5 GHz band, which is really an excellent feature. The next feature takes place in the Photos application. It can be in any folder or anything just on the main screen here. If you go ahead and switch to landscape mode, you're going to notice the bottom nav bar actually gets smaller. It looks a lot better in my opinion down there. You can see the photos, memories, shared, and album sections right there. Just look a lot better when it is in that smaller bar there. Next is the ability to drag and drop messages inside the Messages application. So if you go ahead and tap and hold on a message bubble here, you can tap other ones as well. You can get a bunch of them in there. So let's just get 5. You can actually go back and put them in a new conversation or wherever you want. You can just drag and drop different places. You can put it down where you actually type right here, and you'll see that it actually just puts the words in there right there, just like that. So this is really cool, very convenient. Now this is probably a feature in previous versions of this iOS 11 beta, but I just now discovered it. Now if we go to the Control Center and 3D Touch on the music application here, you're gonna notice that we have rounded corners on the album artwork now. It wasn't usually that rounded. It was a little bit rounded, but not that rounded. It looks a little bit different. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of these rounded corners, these extreme rounded corners with everything in iOS 11, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna grow on me. But anyways, you can see there, the rounded corners on the album artwork is a little bit different here in Beta 3. Siri can now show your air quality for your current location or any location that it supports by just asking what's the air quality, you know, in your certain location. However, I wanted to show you this not working right now because this is a bug in iOS 11 Beta 3. I did not have this in Beta 1 or 2. However, in Beta 3, I've had Siri freeze up on me numerous times. So if I just go and tap and hold the home button, you know, and ask Siri, or if I just say, hey Siri, nothing happens. It doesn't allow me to talk or do anything like that. So that is a bug that I hope gets fixed very soon. It only fixes itself when you reboot the device. So I've tried everything possible to resolve this, but it only gets resolved when you reboot the device. If you take a look up in the status bar, you're going to notice that we have a Bluetooth icon up there, and it's actually the bold color like it's connected to something, but it's not actually connected. So if you go up to my Bluetooth right here, you're going to notice that it's on, but it's not connected to anything. However, it still shows that it is bold up there. And if we go ahead and turn it off, back on, you'll notice we get the animation like it's trying to connect, but it doesn't connect to anything, but it still stays that bold color instead of the faded out gray like it did in previous versions of iOS. So if we go to General, Accessibility, Display Accommodations, Invert Colors, Smart Invert, you guys will know that the Smart Invert is like the new dark mode in iOS 11, but it has some new colors now. So it's a little bit more, I guess, more of a dark mode than it was in previous versions of iOS. Now this isn't a huge difference in my opinion. It's not really much of a difference at all, but I've been seeing a lot of people talk about how there's some new colors throughout the UI of iOS 11. So I'm not a big fan of this personally because I really don't think it's a real dark mode, but it is pretty cool if you wanted to use this Smart Invert feature in iOS 11. And again, you're just gonna notice some small changes throughout different applications, different third-party applications and things like that. You're gonna notice some new colors that change and don't change and just small details like that. So if we go over to the Files application, you can now actually swipe back to get back to where you were. So this is a way I navigate throughout iOS, and I've always navigated throughout iOS like this by swiping back to go to my last location. Instead of going up here and tapping the icon up there to go back, I always like swiping over here from the left back over to the right to get back to where I was. And you couldn't actually do this previously in the Files application, but you now can, which is great. If you go to the Control Center, you're gonna notice when we turn on the flashlight, it actually turns blue now instead of what it turned in the previous versions of iOS 11 beta, which I believe was yellow. And you're gonna notice when you activate certain things that they are different colors as well. So it's again, very small details, but it's something you will notice if you actually take the time and look at it. Also in the Control Center, if we go ahead and 3D touch on certain icons here, you're gonna see certain toggles. You're gonna see that we have a new UI for some of them, more rounded just a different look than it was on previous versions of iOS 11 beta. And then if you 3D touch here on the screen recording, you have this new option here for start broadcast. And the final new feature I wanted to show you guys is the family usage now showing up in iCloud. So if you go to iCloud here, iCloud and storage, manage storage right here, you're gonna notice right here where mine says iCloud storage is actually gonna show your family usage. So I actually don't have people on my plan right now except for myself, so I don't have any kind of family storage showing right there. But if you do have multiple people on your plan, you can see how much storage each person is using right there. Very easy to see, very convenient. So yeah, those are some of the new features and changes in iOS 11 beta 3. Now, how has the battery been? And to be honest, it's actually worse than it was in beta 2. I know, I'm surprised as well. And again, this is all tested on my iPhone 7 here. I tested the battery through 2 full cycles, and I noticed that on iOS 11 beta 2, I actually got about 26 minutes more of on-screen time than I did with iOS 11 beta 3. Now, that's not gonna make a huge difference in your day-to-day usage. You're not even gonna notice it unless you're testing it, but I thought it was just interesting to see nonetheless. As far as the fluidity and stableness of iOS 11 beta 3, it's still not perfect. There's still bugs, it's still slow sometimes. However, I wouldn't say that it's a terrible idea to put it on your daily driver. Now, me personally, I'm gonna wait until it gets a lot more fluid and a lot more of these bugs get squashed, but it's still, I don't think it's a terrible idea to load it up on your daily driver device just to try it out. Hopefully by beta 5 or 6, it's stable enough to put on everybody's daily driver. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. A lot more videos coming soon. I apologize for the lack of videos lately. There's just been a lot going on in my personal life. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for a lot more coverage on iOS 11 here in the future. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.